Alright, so Foxfire, Confessions of a Girl Gang, is a novel by Joyce Carroll Oates. This is my first of hers, and I have heard she's like another, just like Cynthia Ozick, hailing from New York. It's kind of a weird thing when I can, not by now, like a little bit, not that it's like really a source of pride, but I can kind of get a little bit when there's a New York kind of like frame of mind that people have that's kind of detectable, like it's slightly discernible, but I don't know, that's just kind of it could be just an instinct that isn't really all that like helpful, I guess. So but yeah, so this is an interesting kind of memoir form, or that's the way it's set up, about these girls who grew up in the 50s, and all of them bond over a gang, Foxfire, like the title suggests. Yeah, and they're all pretty much are concerned mostly with like a kind of really, almost like a kind of proto-punk kind of, not watch the world burn attitude, but just kind of a, like a very, they're all bond over like a shared kind of outsider, like they're, a lot of them are victims of almost near sexual assault, and that, if it weren't for them and their friends, like they would, things would go more disastrous. But the gang is made up of Maddie, or Monkey, Wirtz, and then there was 5 members, so she was one of the first. And then there was Betty, Goldie, Siegfried, Loretta, Lana, McGuire, Elizabeth, Rita, O'Hagan, and the leader of it was Margaret Legs Sadowski, so they called her Legs the rest of the time. So much so that I kind of forgot her name. But yeah, this is set in the fictional town of Hammond, New York, and a lot of them have a kind of, especially Legs, they have like almost anarchic kind of ideals. Like they have a really strong rite of passage to get into Foxfire. Like they're like, they have a lot of like kind of feminist kind of things, kind of values that they really kind of enforce. And yeah, they have, the Foxfire kind of, they have a bunch of kind of clandestine tattoos that they use, and they which is a red kind of fiery flame, and then they have forms of different ways they go about kind of giving comeuppance to all these different, especially kind of really toxic, I know that word's like really overused today, gets a lot of traffic, but they kind of enforce, like they give this, they really try to like hand it back, and like to try to get the, force these guys, what they did to like get to be basically, endure their public humiliation. So that's like the getting some form of payback for them. And they have these, basically there's another guy there's a teacher that, at their high school named Mr. Buttinger, and he is, takes, starts taking advantage of Rita, and then starts, making her stay like, extra hours, and then eventually he actually kind of feels her inappropriately, obviously. And then they basically, Foxfire starts going around and starts painting kind of like graffiti art on his car that just, it says, something like very, I teach math and tickle tits, and that's like really just like emblazoned on his car. And now that he's basically mocked that by the whole school now, like everybody who takes part in it, he ends up quitting, and then just completely retires, I guess, leaves Foxfire, or leaves Hammond altogether. So that's their first victim. And after this, they get more and more like tenacious and with a firmer resolves for like what they're what counts as like kind of taboo to them. So they're some of them are like kind of slightly illicit stuff, like but it's like almost picadillos too. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but there are shoplifting. They there's this guy that has like a dog pound kind of place where they're kept, and it's very, you know, inhumane, obviously, and they basically like just let the dog sleep there, and then the Foxfire gang end up, you know, kind of sending this kind of message to them, to the public, that like, hey, these people are abusing animals, like they're not feeding them, they're not, you know, doing anything, they won't let us buy their stuff, they won't let us in there, so they end up getting a little tabloid in the paper, and then end up this place ends up going out of business, and they end up buying the dog for the for $25, and yeah, and there's another guy, one of Maddie's, I believe it's her uncle, named Wimpy Wirtz, and he basically, she stops by one day to like look at a typewriter, and she's like kind of just window shopping, because like it's, you know, it's just sitting out there, like it looks like it's basically trash, and she considers picking it up, but then Wimpy stops her and then ends up shaming her and saying like, if you don't pay this certain price, like I'm gonna make you do other things for me, and I'm gonna, you know, like he gets bolder, and you know, basically I think it was as far as, you know, doing other things, but like they end up basically kind of almost having a sting mission in a sense. The gang ends up like bursting into his house and like just completely like, you know, like ravaging the whole place, like just like again, you know, shaving him. And so they finally they do different things in charity. They say, Maddie says that they tired of being kind of like self-interested. So like Foxfire has like an interesting theme to it, where it's like the girls are kind of like, they have almost like an weird kind of chaotic good, or not a chaotic neutral, but chaotic like law, like alignment, I guess, if that makes sense. Like they have some kind of moral scruples that that are almost like Robin Hood kind of, as cliched as it sounds, you know, like a Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor kind of, you know, that kind of maxim fits, I think, adequately for Foxfire, because they aren't just about kind of like getting, you know, seizing property, or like teasing it, or just, you know, humiliating old perverts or anything like that. And I started to wonder at certain points, like it almost seemed like every male kind of peer in this novel seemed to be creepy, or just kind of in it for the wrong, you know, with the wrong intentions, just like, you know, perverted and perverse. And I started to wonder if like there would be any of them that would be kind of but then again, I do note that this is just kind of taking place in its own, and especially in the 50s too, I guess this isn't out of the question, especially since it's also kind of a fictional town too, so it's like kind of like a heightened realism, I would say. Obviously these things, it's not like every single day, you know, every single guy ever is gonna, or given the opportunity, when they see a girl that's kind of like helpless, in like, you know, or impressionable, like it's not like they're gonna instantly take advantage of them, but like in this story, things are kind of taken to a new extreme. So and I like that about it. I like the kind of frenetic, kind of relentless fire, like the, no pun intended, but you know, like the fierce kind of quality of Foxfire girls. Like they so they start going around doing other things, and then there's, since a spike in popularity too, that other people in school start to want to join the gang, but they start to up their standards more and more, and then they change it, and Legs basically changes the name to the Foxfire Homestead, and then they all, in this house that she buys, that they all save up, and then but they all pretty poor, you know, like they have trouble earning money, and this is all since basically, forgot to mention that one of the, when they're trying to run away, one of the gangs, you know, it was, who is it, Legs and, I think Maddie are from this fight that breaks out in the schoolyard, and then they start running away, and this joyride, and then she basically steals a car that has a key like left in the ignition, so they end up going around and on like a really chaotic kind of ride, and then they're stopped by a state trooper, and then sent to a correctional facility for girls, and that kind of like, that's where she was like kind of molded into a little bit more kind of, Legs was like a little bit more thoughtful, but like she was like very, it was torture for her, but it was also torture for the other girls because they were like missing her, you know, because she was like really the kind of charismatic kind of leader of the squad. So they but after a year at that place, she's like, they let her out, and then that's when they buy the Foxfire homestead, and then they start kind of concocting another plan to blackmail someone to get money. Like, really, this is like where I started kind of sign off a little bit, because it's like they started like breaking a clear code of obvious conduct, and they end up kidnapping this one guy who's like of a really, really wealthy, affluent family, and everything goes awry, and the guy ends up you know, like praying to Jesus, and then he's like convinced that, you know, Jesus will save him and that things will be fine. Then he like stoically just sits there and doesn't, you know, doesn't like give any, doesn't like squirm, doesn't you know, what's the word? He doesn't snitch on his family, or like say like where, you know, he doesn't end up giving the money that they want, that they're extorting him for, and they end up this is like a pretty grisly situation where he almost gets shot after, I think he tries to reach for one of their guns, and it goes off on his chest or in his stomach, I believe, and then it, you know, but it's like it's not fatal though, and he's like survives, and that's like when Foxfire, they just like all split different ways, and they just like all run off, and that's that. Obviously there's spoilers there, as I think you've come to expect with my reviews. I should have prefaced it with that, but yeah, that is Joyce Carroll Oates. Yeah, I've heard other books by her. I can't remember, the other one was like The Blackwater or something, I think. But yeah, still alive. Yeah, she's still, you know, I think she's in her 80s. Still writing, I assume. And yeah, very interesting kind of, some of them remind me a little bit of like Haruki Murakami, just the kind of narrative style of, and the kind of, you know, a gang of outsiders, and kind of doing, it's like that kind of heightened kind of realism. Reminded me a little bit, you know, like this kind of thing of, against a very repressed kind of society. Kind of had a little bit of like a Tessa Mesfeg, like especially Eileen too. But yeah, it's like, yeah, they had kind of an interesting kind of dimension of feminism manifestation that they, you know, when that word didn't get as much currency, I guess, as it did today, but it, you know, yeah, it was an interesting kind of, there's a movie too, I think it came out 4 or 5 years later with Angelina Jolie. I have not seen it, but I'll try to look into that. I was always kind of on the fence about Angelina Jolie's, but I think like in her like earlier works, like Carroll Interrupted, she did like a pretty good job of, you know, of like playing like a believable, but also kind of like mentally unwell, kind of unpredictable character, I think. But yeah, that is all I have for today, and thanks for watching.